Hello and welcome to the morning after show. My name is Joshua Reimer, and I am excited to bring you another day of the morning after stream. I am joined by my co-host, who is on my right. It is Jared, none other than Jared Block. Jared, how you doing? We're both really tired, man. It's probably been one of the more tired shows that we've ever had.
Yeah, we're here, man. The coffee has yet to kick in, but yeah, we stayed up late last night. I know you stayed up later than I did, but both several hours past where we usually do it. It's good to be here. It's good that it's Wednesday. It means we're just one day closer to Saturday for me. And today is your last day for the work week, so this is your Friday.
Today is my Friday. I cannot tell you, I didn't get to talk to you about this before we went on the air, but I don't think that I've ever been more excited for a Wednesday than this Wednesday. Like, especially after a full week of the streams last week and this week, like, and especially after staying up until I think I was up till 5 a.m. last night at the end of everything. I can't wait to be able to sleep in. I'm gonna sleep in till like noon tomorrow, and I am absolutely pumped about it.
Yeah, I can feel that, and I cannot do the same, but we're here. So I'll just have to get up or I go to bed early tonight. But yeah, no, let's talk this thing out. We got a lot of fun stuff planned for today. Welcome, good morning to all your San Francisco fans. We have a bunch of them in here right away, so I love the dedication there.
Yeah, definitely already have them in here. Jay Coos, oh man, this is an FSF show under over 5 times. You know what, John? We already talked about you today. Already had your name brought up because we were talking about you ridiculing Jared for the San Fran thing. I won't have it, man. I'll say whatever I'll say whatever I want. Brian said, "Wow, I love the name. Best name title ever." Mills said, "Never mind. Was thinking something else." Little Ellie said, dedication. Love to hear it. Yes, sir. We're always dedicated. D Ramfied said, let's go. Game said, more than everybody. Jared, I have a tweet that I'm still trying to get out. I'm trying my best. It takes me a little while to type this up. So why don't you tell the viewers how your day went yesterday?
Yeah, day went well yesterday. We talked about the week two DraftKings slate as well as played a lot of MLB DFS. So, with that being said, I think everybody in here had a good night last night, and we're ready to continue things today. First, obviously, we have some breaking news that we'll get to in regards to the NFL world, and then we have a obviously heated playoff race to get to as well. So that's what we're going to be talking about first. But yeah, we're cool. We're cool. Will Harbs says good morning. XYZ, good to see you in here. Deramified, what's going on? Little Italy says love the dedication. Yeah, I have my I brought out the banger today in the world's best boss mug. So
Oh.
we're this is the only way that I can get myself fueled up for today.
Yeah, I don't blame you. My coffee plans went horribly wrong. I left as soon as you guys came into the voice chat. I left to go get my coffee, and I poured a cup, and it looked like water essentially. Like it looked awful, and I was like, "Fuck, man, I'm not gonna have enough time to make another pot of coffee before we go live." And so I put the pot of coffee on, and then I realized, well, it's 8:59. I'm probably not gonna be able to rush to the kitchen. I'd probably make something awkward if I did try to rush to the kitchen. So I guess I'll just have to wait until after the show. I'm sure it's gonna be affecting me after the show, but we'll see. Guys, I'm about to put out a tweet on Twitter saying that I'm giving away $10 to 3 lucky listeners, 3 lucky commenters in the chat. Make sure you're staying active throughout the whole entire stream, and you can have a chance at winning $10 via PayPal. It's nothing big. I know it's not $250 that Jared gave away yesterday, but it's free Starbucks. If you get Starbucks and I'm not able to get coffee, then at least I'm happy for you. All right, Jared. Anything else on our introduction stream? And if not, let's move on to talk about some MLB.
Yeah, so not only is this show going to be driven by San Francisco sports, the later stream, the Strong Side NFL stream, is also going to be driven by the 49ers.
Yeah.
So yeah, just make sure to tune into that. It's probably the best day that you guys are going to have all year.
Yeah, it's It's going to be a lot of fun to talk about some San Fran. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about some MLB, baby, because we had a lot happen last night. San Fran continues this incredible winning streak that they've had. Oh, man, I already said San Fran. I'm just going to get it from John today. I can already tell. Anyway, the Giants were able to continue this amazing winning streak that they've been having, led off by the home run that Buster Posey had. This Padres team that they're facing really struggling for the playoffs. We also saw a tight contest between the Mariners and the Red Sox last night. That was a lot of fun to watch. And then the Yankees finally looked like they might be back on track. Let's talk about the Giants first, though. It's impressive to see what they've been doing. They've been the underdog of the whole entire season, and the fact that they just keep winning is absolutely insane. I don't know what the win streak is up to. Probably our AP could give us that news of what that win streak is up to, but all I know is that the win streak's really impressive, and it's going to be interesting to see if this is a regular season warrior, right? Because I think there is some potential around them being a regular season warrior and not being as good in the postseason. I also think that they're just a really talented team all around. So what do you think?
For me, this is, it's a feel good story, right? Like, I think that anytime you see a team emerge from what seems to be the Dodgers' grasp for like the last decade plus, and overcome, obviously lopsided salary cap issues for baseball. I think that, yeah, with that and just the fact that they've been able to continue crushing it, it's not like yes, they certainly have gone on strong. They've come on strong here in the last month or so, 2 months, but they've been consistent all year long. And yeah, this is the team that everybody cared about, or sorry, started to care more about this season. And I think that what I saw, if I remember this correctly, was early season predictions being around the 21st best team in the league. So it's amazing what they've been able to do. They've been able to stay healthy is one of the main parts, and then obviously they play in one of the toughest divisions, if I think the second toughest division in all of baseball. So if I remember correctly, it's 9 wins in a row, Josh. And regardless of what the exact number actually is, it's impressive nonetheless.
Yeah, it's been 9 wins in a row, 9-1 in their last 10. I mean, kind of obvious that they've gone 9 in a row, but regardless, 9-1 in their last 10. It's been super impressive to see what they've been able to do. And those aren't against cupcake teams, right? Like we've seen them play the Dodgers recently in that 10-game stretch. We've seen them play this Padres team, which I don't know what way to side with the Padres team. I'd like to say they're pretty good, though. I'd like to say that they're an okay team. But maybe they're not because, I want to talk about this Padres team too. This is why I had this part up there because the Padres are included. The Padres have gone 0-5 on this road trip while being outscored. Listen to this, Jared. 5 games, and they've been outscored 31-6. That's rough. They're 8-21 since August 10th, and they have to go at least 8-10 to finish above 500. I mean, playoffs, right? Like, this is the main talking point. We talk about this AL wildcard race so much, but the NL wildcard race is kind of getting enticing at the same as well.
Yeah, they are. The Padres' schedule is definitely very tough to end the year. I'm just going to give you the remaining series that they have. They have 4 series left. So that's what we're going to start talking about, guys, over the next couple of weeks here. How many series these teams have left and what real chance do they have to make this? Listen to this strength of schedule, Josh, because I feel like this is probably the toughest stretch at the end of the year, outside of your Yankees, who we'll talk about in a little bit too. They get to face the Giants for 2 more games, including today and tomorrow, and then they take on the Cardinals for 3 games over the weekend. They then get the Giants again for 3 games in San Diego. They move on. They get the Braves at home for 3 games, and then they close out the season with the Dodgers and Giants again on the road. So I don't know, man. I feel like the Padres are going to keep slipping here unless they really put it together and show me something. I don't think that they have much of a shot with this schedule lined up.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited because I know Sean and I have a little king bet lined up if the Padres don't make the playoffs. So I'm all for that strength of schedule there. I will say, shout out to our friends over at betonline.ag. They're the sponsors of this stream. I went to go look at the Padres' odds to win the division. Not up anymore. They don't have them. I mean, that's how that's how much this team is out of the divisional race. It's basically impossible for them to win the division according to BetOnline, and then they're plus 2,200 to win the National League. So just
Right.
big odds that they're even going to get there. I don't know, man. Like this Padres team is rough. I don't think they end up making the playoffs, but it'll be interesting to watch if they can turn ship around. I mean, you got to remember this is one of the most talented teams in all of baseball. They have an ace of a starting rotation. They have Fernando Tatis, one of the best young players in all of baseball. They have Manny Machado. I just don't know where this team went wrong. And we were talking about this on the podcast yesterday, the MLB podcast. Where do you think this team went wrong? Is it the hitters? Is it the back end of the rotation? Is it possibly the bullpen that they spent so much money on?
I don't really know. I know we talked about it on the podcast yesterday. I think that the GMs and the ownership are in the same boat that we are talking about this right now. They have no idea what more they need to do. Like what
No.
more do they need to acquire? I just don't understand how. I don't know. It's mediocrity, right? I think that the performance on a lot of these pieces just didn't come through.
It's just insane to me that you're paying guys like Will Myers and Eric Hosmer so much. Like, if that's what I would do if I'm a GM in the postseason, my main goal is to address Hosmer and Myers and find out, well, should we cut you? Should we trade you? Like, what are we gonna do here because it's not working out on the team? I think you can go out and get a significantly better first baseman than Eric Hosmer, a guy who's hitting the ball on the ground more than he's hitting the ball in the air right now. And I think the same goes for Will Myers, who might also be hitting up the ball on the ground more than he's hitting it in the air. So it's just, I feel like it's a smart move to move off of the bottom of that lineup, find some other pieces, and maybe that'll help the overall offense. Because I think the pitching staff is doing just fine at the end of this day. Snell's doing his thing. Darvish is, for the most part, doing his thing. They have a lot of competent pieces when it comes to rotation. It's just it seems like that offense can never get started unless Tatis hits 2 home runs.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where it's at, right? Well, the injury to him didn't hurt any of this earlier in the season, but I don't know. For the most part, I feel like they have been healthy, at least the key pieces
No,
outside of Tatis. So, I mean, health isn't really an issue there. I think it's just performance. It's really what it is because you can't blame it all on the division, even though I will say that, obviously it's tough, but you should still be able to make the playoffs even with this expanded format.
can't blame it all on the division because the AL East, in my opinion, is tougher. I know they're kind of like they're similar, in all honesty, saying the AL East and that NL West division when it comes to difficulty of matchups. But like AL East is just as hard, and they have potential to have 3 playoff teams. I don't think that's going to be the case for the NL West this year. So, going to be interesting to keep up with everything going on in that division, and more importantly, for that conference's wild card race. Jared, let's talk about the Red Sox facing off against the Mariners. That's kind of the game of the day for me. I want to see how this one plays out. These two teams are getting really close to each other when it comes to terms in the wild card race. It has, the Yankees are up top right now, or they're in one of the wild card spots. Blue Jays are in the other. Red Sox are behind those two. And then you have the Mariners and the Athletics behind those twos. And it's pretty close. They're all within 3 games of each other. So, like, all it takes is for the Mariners to win this one and possibly pick up a win later on in the week to potentially move ahead of the Red Sox. I don't know. This Mariners team has stayed really dangerous this season, especially at home. And I don't know if you saw this stat or you heard this stat from me on the podcast yesterday. They have been one of the best underdog teams in all of baseball this season, cashing at a ridiculous rate as an underdog. So, what do you think? Do the Mariners, like, I know the Red Sox have a chance. Everyone loves the Red Sox. Everyone understands that Red Sox team is uber talented. But I feel like the team that's a kind of an outlier is the Mariners. And it's insane to see them here in such tight competition for that wild card race.
I feel like just due to the nature of the reputation of this team, they're always going to be an underdog. My Seattle Mariners call from last week lives a little
Oh,
bit.
yeah.
They're still in play here. But yeah, I mean the home record is definitely something that stands out. I know that all of these wild card teams, all of these playoff teams, have more than 40 wins at home, and this Mariners team certainly does that. 42 and 32, with their away record is a little bit shaky. They also play on the road for the next 2 series, but they do have 2 home stretches against the A's and the Angels. So maybe Josh, these 6 more matchups against the Angels are the thing that push them through all the way.
Yeah, very good point. I mean, it's going to be important to pay attention to that strength of schedule. I know we're going to talk about the Yankees' strength of schedule here soon, but paying attention to that strength of schedule could determine which one of these teams ends up in the playoffs. Because, like we said, it's about getting hot at the right time. It's really easy to get hot against bad teams. It's much harder to get hot against good teams, which I know the Yankees are facing off against. By the way, guys, this game is at 4:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested in watching, I know I'm going to be watching because, like I said, I think this is playoff implications wise. This is the game of the day. And Red Sox have Tanner Houck on the mound. You have Marco Gonzalez on the other side. It's going to be a fun game to watch, in my opinion. So I'm excited. All right, I finally get to talk good about my Yankees. They come away with their second straight win. It seems like ever since we started this stream, it's been the Yankees' bad juju here because they just have not been able to win, but they had a walk-off win on Monday, yesterday. They had a good win against the Orioles. I know we have a few more games against the Orioles, which I'm excited about, but you said that we have a bad strength of schedule the rest of the way through. I want to hear it. What's happening for this Yankees team?
Yep, I will bring it up. I'm also bringing up the odds to win, to make the playoffs. There's special props by betonline.ag. So I want to look at the Yankees as well as the Mariners. Obviously, you guys have a pretty easy way for the next three series if you count what's going on right now. You do face the Orioles, the Indians, and the Rangers all at home. The latter two, that is, and then to end the year, you do have to play Boston in Boston for 3 games. You then have to go and play Toronto for 3 games, and then you finish the year off in October, 1, 2, and 3 against the Rays. So that's how your schedule shapes out at the end.
Yo, that's ridiculous. So we need to win out here for the next 2 series.
You need to win. Yeah, you need to basically win the next 6 games in a row against these poor teams.
Yeah, that's scary, man. I mean, unless we can sweep the Red Sox, which what did you say it was in Fenway or in Yankee Stadium?
It's in Fenway.
Oh, jeez, I don't know. We'll see if we can take away one of the two against the Red Sox. And no, I don't even think we would end up making the playoffs if we only ended up winning one out of the two. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in this. I can tell you this is going to be one of the more exciting wildcard races we've seen in quite some time. And I feel like every year we're having these exciting wildcard races, but maybe it's because we didn't necessarily have one last year with only 60 games, and now we have 182 or 162 games. And so maybe that's the reason why, but this is going to be a really fun wild card race. Even though I'm scared for my Yankees, I'm certainly excited to see if they can pull it off and get the job done. All right, anything else in MLB stick out to you, Jared? Anything with your Brewers possibly or anything else?
No, I mean, the Brewers train is definitely, it's still going. I mean, there's nothing much to talk about because they're playing the Tigers right now, which, I think should be. I mean, we did lose yesterday, so I'll give it that. It doesn't help
matter
anything.
though, because you're 10 games up on the division right now. Absolutely insane. It's just
It's 13 and a half from what I can see.
I wish I could relate to having a bad division with me. I mean, you guys have a decent division, but it's certainly not the AL East.
It was supposed to be one of the best divisions coming into the season, with the Cardinals and Reds loading up over the offseason. But yeah, I mean, both of those teams have not really proven it late down the stretch.
Yep, for sure. Going through the comments real quick, Mills9042 said, Padres are really struggling. I completely agree. D Ramified said, love the info, fellas. We love the info as well, and we appreciate you being here. Raptor81329 said, finally made it to one of these. Well, welcome, man. Glad to have you here. Black Eddie said, good morning, family. Good morning, man. Tony Gant says, good morning. Teddy Two Stack said, good morning. Good morning, y'all. D-Ramified said, yes, BetOnline is great. Oh, it's because Mills9042 said, BetOnline has one of the best sportsbook and poker rooms. I could not agree more. I've played their poker room before. I have a blast whenever I do, whenever I find the time to. Mills said Mariners are almost sitting atop when it comes to winning straight up as an underdog. Yes, they actually are. B. Kent said a Yankees-Red Sox wildcard game would be perfect. Jared, give me your favorite wildcard combination from this whole stretch. Who do you want to see in the wildcard game the most from the AL and then from the NL?
For the American League, I think that I have to agree with the chat, and I think I said this yesterday. I think that having a game 163, if it comes down to it, between the Yankees and Red Sox would be great because honestly, We've had enough time with seeing both of these teams in the playoffs at the same time. I would, I think that only one of these teams is going to be able to make it just because the rest of the division is so good. Poor Orioles, right? Like they're the only team that's not going to make it in their division or possibly even have a chance. That's how lopsided all that is. But
No.
it's crazy to see four teams that have over 80 wins this far in the season.
Yeah, I know, right? And like 8 teams that I don't think they could all put up 90 wins, but I guess one team would probably come really close to putting up 90 wins, and I could easily see 3 of them putting up 90 wins. So it's gonna be interesting, man. This is again, like I said before, this is a wild card race that I feel like I'm more excited for this wild card race than any wild card race of the past few seasons. So it's gonna be a blast to watch. All right, anything else MLB wise? And if not, let's move on to talk about some NFL coming up next.
Yeah, just addressing your National League portion of the wild card. I feel like last week we talked about the NL East and how possibly it was going to come down to the Phillies. Now it looks like it's changed a little bit, and we're looking at the Padres sneaking up there. The Cardinals and the Reds are going to battle it out. It's going to be actually. I know that everybody's going to be talking about the AL East, but this NL wildcard could come down to something pretty crazy.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's fun because the Dodgers already have the top spot, right? Like they're like
Yep.
10 plus games ahead of everyone else. So it really
Uh-huh.
comes down to that one wild card spot for those like 4 teams to battle it out for. It's going to be fun. Which AL division is the strongest? I think there's no question in saying that it's the AL East. That's the strongest
Yeah.
division by far.
Yeah, strongest division by far. Nobody even comes close. The Central is a joke outside of the White Sox, and the West is pretty locked up as well.
Yep, for sure. All right, maybe the West gets better. I know I was teasing Sean about how it must be nice to be in a cupcake division, and he was saying just wait till the Angels get Trout back next year, and we'll see. And I was like, I still don't think
Next
it.
year.
Yeah, I still don't think it'll be that tough anyway. Regardless. All right, let's talk about some NFL because there was a lot that happened yesterday. Mainly, we got the news first that Raheem Mostert was going to miss 8 games. Then we got the news from him that he's going to go undergo season-ending surgery. Tough break, man. Always a tough break for the Niners. I feel a little bit of deja vu
Yeah.
from last year to where, we got hurt early on. We had guys tearing their ACLs left and right, and we already had 2 in week 1. So I don't know what else is going to happen. Is this always going to be a team that is going to struggle when it comes to injuries? I don't know, but I know losing Raheem Mostert hurts.
It certainly does. I mean, obviously, you hate to see injuries anytime, especially ones that are recurring like his are. I know that he's always been an underdog type player, so I can always appreciate that. Came out of nowhere and showed that he was able to be that guy when they had that Super Bowl run. So yeah, I'm interested to see because I think your team is still fine. I mean, whoever they have at running back, the system is just going to make them stand out and look great.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, for me, it's more about just making sure that he's good. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Your running back room came in strong. You had like 6 really competent backs, and now I think 3 of them are hurt or on IR. Is
No.
that right? Is that true? And then
Uh
you ship Coleman out. So it's like,
yeah.
how much do you have left now?
Yeah, I think it's 2 that are hurt because we have Wilson and Mostert now out. Wilson only out for half of the season. Mostert out for the rest of the season. Now we have the running back room is really simple. It's 3 guys. It's Sermon, it's Hasty, and it's Elijah Mitchell. So it's going to be
Yeah.
interesting to see if Elijah Mitchell can do well with this run scheme. I think it's kind of like why am I missing the name right now? Who was the Cowboys running back in like 2010 or 2011 that just came out of nowhere just because the Cowboys had a good O line?
I mean, DeMarco.
DeMarco Murray. There you go,
Yeah, there it
baby.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DeMarco Murray, like he wasn't a very talented running back, but it was just that O line was so good that he ended up having 1,000 yard season and looking absolutely incredible. I feel like it's a kind of similar situation with the Niners. Just whoever you're going to throw back there is going to do well because the offensive play calling is so good from Kyle Shanahan, and because that O line and that scheme is just built to make running backs look good.
Yeah, I know, Chad, we do have to mention this. They did sign on Johnson yesterday to the practice squad.
Good point.
That means nothing to me. Maybe long term they'll move him over. But on Johnson has been just a guy that hasn't been able to prove it at the NFL level. He got some playing time in Detroit, totally different situation. Yeah, I mean, he's on the practice squad. That's fine, but you're going to have some more serious injuries to move him to the actual roster. They can't keep 5 running backs on the roster to make this thing work.
Yeah, they can't. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do, if anything, when it comes to the San Francisco squad. All right, Josh Gordon. Feels like we talk about it every year, but he got recommended to play again by some part of the NFL. Now they're just waiting on the commissioner's word to see if he
Yep.
will end up playing again. Man, like, we just go through this every year, and like, I don't know what to think anymore. I used to get excited about this. I used to think, oh man, what if we see the old Josh Gordon? But it just doesn't seem like it's in the cards, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always advocating for him. I feel like every single year, the talent we know is there. He's gone to teams where, like, I don't know. I really thought that if anything was going to work, the Seahawks thing was going to work,
Yeah.
and then it didn't. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens for him, but at the end of the day, we can only just wait and see at this point because it has been, like you said, the fourth time going back to college. So
Wow.
yeah, it is what it is. But hopefully he gets things figured out. And even if he doesn't play football again, I just really hope he gets things figured out.
Yeah, me too. I really hope he does get things figured out because, like you said, he's a talent. Like when he was on the Browns, man, like it was insane to watch how good of a wide receiver he was. And I want to see that again. We deserve to see that
Yep.
type of play again. If you had one team that he could go to, who would it be?
Ooh, the one team that needs help, the Saints.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. I can 100% get behind the Saints. Um, with my team's lack of depth, I would really like to see the Niners. I would really like to see the Niners and see him potentially replace Sherfield or Ayuk at that wide receiver too, because I think Debo has a clear lock on wide receiver one, and it's going to be interesting to see if Ayuk can recapture that wide receiver two job.
Yeah, I will say it's unsure, and I don't know right now because I haven't looked into it much. But I feel like he could still be a part of the Seattle franchise. I feel like he still could be a part of them. I don't know if they necessarily let him go. I don't remember. So, chat, help me out if you have the answer to that. Josh, we did get some breaking news in relation to the NFL because I know we're not talking much about them or about that more today. We got news that from Ian Rappaport just a few minutes ago that Gerald McCoy for the Raiders, their defensive tackle, has suffered a season-ending injury and will be out the remainder of the season after getting hurt on Monday Night Football. So, you know, I don't know. The Raiders' defensive line looked incredible the other day. This is definitely a huge blow for them, and you hate to see season-ending injuries after just one game.
Yeah, I feel like we've seen so many of them too, right? Like I feel like left and right we're seeing these injuries. We saw Raheem, we saw Jason
Yeah.
Verrett, we saw Jeff Okuda from the Lions. I just feel like left and right around the league we saw this. Someone had a good question. D Ramified asked Jared and Josh, how much does COVID and conditioning play into all of the injuries, especially these stars? I don't know, man. Like I know that camp was kind of taken back a little bit. I know a lot of it was virtual. So if it is virtual, how much are they actually getting that conditioning in? And so I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that the COVID had a role in all of these season-ending injuries that we just keep seeing?
No, I think that the players are now used to doing things on their own, regardless of the situation. The one thing that does make the difference for me is the personnel, as well as I wouldn't say conditioning is a part of it, but definitely reps with their teammates that they're going to be on the field with, and communication and nonverbal communication. So, we always talk all the time, at least, in the Packers world, about Adams and Rogers having that nonverbal communication where they just know what's going to happen. They know what to do in certain situations, and if they look at each other, they know, and they're both on the same wavelength. So that is definitely affected. And I wouldn't say it's much about conditioning though, because all these guys are just in amazing shape regardless. Yeah, but Kai said he went to high school and played football with Gerald McCoy. Yeah, that's the worst, man. That's
That is
the
the worst.
absolute worst.
It is the worst, man. It's absolutely awful to see these guys get injured. And like you said, the defensive line looked really, really good. And who knows if
Really
it was
good.
because the Ravens' offensive line looking bad or what it was, but they looked really good. I think a lot of it was because of Max Crosby. I think he's a potential
Yep,
superstar at the defensive level. But we'll just
absolutely.
have to see. I think that is a huge blow to that defense, and it is going to come into play when we talk about DFS for NFL later on today. All right, anything else on, actually, not anything else on the NFL, because we have a little video to show you guys. Kind of plays into the whole NFL topic, and I think it's a little interesting video, man. It's nice to see what's happening here. Let's go to it. Here we go. Put it full screen.
I ain't felt that in a while since 18 was here, man. Keep with those little pep talks go a long way, man. You know what I'm saying? We need that shit. We ain't had it in a minute. I love you, bro. Love you too. I ain't felt that in a while since.
It's just Von Miller talking to Teddy Bridgewater, just saying, I guess Teddy Bridgewater had a little hype up speech, and Von said, I haven't felt that since 18 was here. Obviously referring to Peyton Manning.
Oof.
That's kind of crazy, man. Like, that hit home for me when I saw that. I was like, dang, like, maybe Teddy's the real deal here in Denver. Maybe there's absolutely no shot of Drew Lock getting this starting job, and maybe it's because Teddy's just like a better overall captain for this team. So what do you think? We've talked very highly of this Denver team this year. If they're able to get things together on offense and they're super solid on defense already, I don't know who's going to stop them, man.
Yeah, I mean, they've just needed a quarterback that can make throws and also doesn't give the ball away a ton. Drew Lock was just a guy that was turnover prone and made some bad decisions. He was still coming into it, so it's a little bit unfair to necessarily move on from him, but I feel like, they have to start making some moves at some point, right? So if Teddy's the guy and he can take care of the ball, that's the most important thing for me because their defense should be able to handle the rest. And then obviously this is not going to bode well when this circles back to Drew Lock because he's still on this team, and that's definitely a little bit of a slight there. So I don't know. Interesting to see. Everybody, everywhere. Like Kai said it perfectly. Everywhere Teddy goes, his team loves him. It must just be that locker room guy. They've needed a locker room guy on the offensive side for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to see Drew Lock get a chance somewhere else. I'm a big fan of Drew Lock. I have been since he came into the league. I'd like to see him get a chance somewhere else. Maybe, I don't know, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, I feel like the Steelers would be a good opportunity once Big Ben retires. Put Lock in that backup role right now, that way so he can start learning that system behind Big Ben. And then, after Big Ben retires, I wouldn't expect them to have a good draft pick because I expect this team to be in win now mode. So maybe Lock is that bridge QB towards the next generation for them. Or I think the same thing goes for the Falcons, right? The Falcons are kind of in a lose now situation though. So maybe they end up just getting a really talented rookie, maybe a Spencer Rattler or a Malik Wilson. I know there's a few guys in the draft this season, but maybe Lock can still be that bridge QB if you see a guy like Matt Ryan retire. I know we shouldn't make this all about Lock because it is just about Bridgewater and him being a good locker room guy and seeming like he's really making a strong bond with some stars on this team. But again, we talked about it with Gordon. If you could see Lock go to one place, where would it be?
Lock go to one place. I think that, I don't mind the Steelers. They're going to have some issues coming down the stretch here once Big Ben retires because they don't have that spot figured out yet. I mean, I think so. I wouldn't mind. This would not be a start situation, but I would not mind him going to a place like Seattle. I know Russ still has quite a few years left in him, but that would be a good destination for him as a backup. I think that the Vikings make sense too if they eventually. I know that Cousins has a big deal, so that wouldn't make much sense either. But I'm not seeing anywhere that he can start. But I think that looking like maybe Atlanta is the place for him to try out. I have a feeling that Atlanta is going to be drafting their next big star if they haven't done so already over the next couple of years. I don't know. I mean, Locke is definitely up there in terms of he could be a starting option, but right now I just don't see any room for him anywhere.
Washington football team. Maybe he's a better option than Taylor Heineke. Who knows? All right, Jared. We've talked about plenty of NFL for the day. Let's move on to our next segment that we're talking about, which is the NBA. Finally, dude, we get to talk about some NBA. I've been waiting on this show to have some good talking points on NBA because we really haven't seen much. But we did get big news yesterday. John Wall and the Rockets agreed that they're going to be looking for a trade partner. Obviously, Wall didn't want to be a part of this rebuild. Makes sense. He wants to be a part of a contender. It's going to be interesting to see where this guy goes. I think there's a ton of options of where he could go, but where's your favorite spot for him to go?
Yeah, I think my favorite spot for him, there's really not much in the East. I've looked at it. I've looked at reports of this and where the cap scenarios are. Not much in the East for contenders at all because they either have their superstars that they want or they don't have the money to take them on, like the Boston Celtics, or the Miami Heat for that matter. So, yeah, I mean, the East is kind of stacked right now at this moment, and I don't think John Wall wants to go, especially like being from Washington and being there for so long, he doesn't want to go back to the East and try to settle for a 6 through 8 spot. He's going to want to go to the West. He's going to want to like stay in the West now that he's there and continue to look for places that he can be at. The one that makes sense to me the most is the Los Angeles Clippers, and that's the one thing that I don't know. I mean, they just need something to get over the hump, right? I think that the Clippers make sense. I think that they have enough on their team that they can trade back to Houston. I think that for me is probably my number one destination for him. They do need that point guard that's not gonna like. Yes, I think that Reggie Jackson and Pat Beverly are fine, but they just need that one more piece there, and I think that he could be that piece for them. The health obviously would terrify me and scare me, but wherever he goes, that risk is always going to be there. The other option, uh, the other option for me would be the Dallas Mavericks. Now, this one is more complicated because I do think that they'd have to give up a huge piece. They might have to go as far as giving up Porzingis, which I don't know how many people agree with that or feel about that. But I think that in this situation, wherever he goes, it's going to demand insane bring back for Houston because his deal is so massive.
Look, I kind of disagree with you on the East take because one team popped into my mind when this news came up. I think Philly could potentially make sense with the Ben Simmons
Okay,
trade news. I mean,
sure.
we know that he's going to go somewhere. I don't think they're going to get the package that they're looking for, but I also know that Ben
Yeah.
Simmons isn't going to play. So I feel like their hand is going to be a little forced when it comes to trading him. And I feel like if you package John Wall, potentially a few picks, it's hard to package picks as a rebuilding team like the Rockets are, but you find some picks that you could potentially put in the deal. Maybe that's the move to go to, along with some other role players. Like I could see that happening for John Wall. I don't know. But I like your West teams too. I don't mind the Clippers, especially with the fact that Kawhi is going to be injured. They are without Pat Bev now. He got moved to Memphis and then the Timberwolves, and I don't know where he is now. There's been too many, but it's going to be interesting to watch where he goes. But they are just left with Reggie Jackson, and I think they do need better point guard play. We've seen it with the Lakers too. They need better point guard play as well. So or they needed
Yeah.
better point guard play. They got their point guard in Westbrook. So maybe this is the subsequent move that the Clippers make to get a point guard in getting John Wall. All right, always fun to talk about John Wall news. Now we get to talk a little bit about the Nuggets and Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon got signed to a 4-year, $90+ million deal yesterday. I know your reaction to it because you had it live on the air with me before we went live, but why don't you give your reaction to all the viewers?
Yeah, so I think that the this is certainly, I think, an overreaction. I think that the commitment to him long term, with how injury prone he's been the last 2 seasons specifically, is just wow. And then second of all, your comment with how do they even have the money to do this? Who knows, man? I have no idea. The one thing that this does help is that does solidify, the starting group for this team, which again, as long as they stay healthy, they can make this thing work. But the injuries have been their biggest concern the past several years. They just haven't been able to stay healthy in the playoffs down the stretch, and they always seem to lose one guy. I'm a little bit scared that that's going to be something to deal with Gordon for the rest of his time there.
Yeah, it's man, I never know what to think about this guy because I saw him go over to the Nuggets last year and I was like, "Hey, this could be interesting. Like give this guy some
Yep.
play time. He can be kind of the replacement for Paul Millsap. Maybe he is that replacement for Paul Millsap now that Millsap has moved on to of course the Brooklyn Nets. Maybe this is a good spot for him now. Maybe he'll be able to get that 30+ minutes that I think he should see every night. I don't know. Maybe he's impressive over 30 minutes, but it's such a big maybe, right? Like, what? I don't know how to feel about him. I never know how to feel about this guy because, like you said, he's so injury prone. What does he bring to the offense that's really exciting with Aaron Gordon, or not with Aaron Gordon, with Nikola Jokic? Like, I just don't know what his role would be. So that's what I'm kind of curious
Yep.
on. It's enticing, right? If they signed him, they got to believe in him. This Nuggets team very rarely makes bad moves when it comes to signing players to long-term deals. So I'm going to be very interested to see what else is going to happen and how this affects the Michael Porter Jr. Contract too, because he's got to be a restricted free agent soon. I'm not sure the exact year, but it's got to be coming up, and they're going to have to pay him a lot of money this season. So going to be enticing to see what else happens with this Nuggets team. If this move kind of puts them in a bad spot, and if they're going to still be able to sign Michael Porter Jr. Jay Koo said it perfectly. How are they going to re-sign / extend MPJ when his contract comes up? I have no clue, man. I'd have to go look in depth to see what the salary cap looked like. But I'm curious. I might look at it after the show. I can't host and do that though, so it'll have to be something after the show. Kai said should have spent some of that money on better trainers in strength and conditioning. Oof, yikes,
Yep.
Jesus. Jay Kusal said Denver out here just burning money. All right, so here's where we disagree. I don't think it's burning money yet. Let's give the guy a chance. He was stuck in a logjam at the power forward position last year. Now that Millsap's out of town, I think you see 30 plus minutes from him. It's just going to be whether he's going to be a meh option or a really good option for Jokic. It's all going to be fun to watch. I don't know. I'm excited for NBA, man. How many weeks are we out from NBA? I think it's like a month now almost, right?
I think we're close to a month. I feel like it's probably closer to 5 weeks, but yeah, we're close, man.
It's exciting. It's very exciting. I know we have MLB until the beginning of October, and then we have a 2-week break, and it's almost 2 weeks on the dot, and then we go over to NBA. So, keep an eye out. I know we're going to be launching NBA packages soon, and that's always a blast because Sean's incredible at NBA, and I don't think I'm too shabby myself. So it's going to be fun to watch. All right. No, that's not it. I think we have one more segment to talk about. A lot of actual news here. We got the news yesterday that we're going to see a NASCAR race in the Coliseum. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. I've been here a few times. I remember one of my first things that I saw in LA was the Coliseum as a little kid because I used to live in California. So what are your thoughts here? It's usually in Daytona, their first race. This year it's not going to be. It's going to be in LA instead. Is this a good move for NASCAR? Is this a bad move for NASCAR?
Yeah, I'm not obviously neither of us are huge into the sport necessarily, so I don't know how their fans necessarily view this. Maybe we bring on Craig to talk about this one of these days. But yeah, I feel like this is a good move for them just because I think that it's important to change things up every now and again. Some people hate change, but I think this one is pretty cool. I think it's a cool idea. But yeah, obviously, you never really want to mess with Daytona, but at the same time, that's still in the cards, but it just won't be the first race of the season.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. Like you said, change is good, especially when it comes to, all these sports are evolving, right? We're seeing MLB kind of look a little bit better than they used to. NBA obviously has been taking that next step. UFC even took that next step with COVID and is even doing more and more to improve. I think it's going to be pretty sweet to watch. So I'm excited. I agree. XY Games 9 said, I agree, switching it up can be nice. Sip226 said, Daytona should be the first race no matter what. It's their Super Bowl.
This is an exhibition. It's not the real thing. It's just an exhibition.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be fun to watch, I think. JQ said, he's talking about UFC. Man, we don't got time for that today. We got plenty of topics on the docket. I think Friday is going to be our UFC day because you can't make me go a full week without talking UFC. But I don't know. I'm excited for this weekend. I've already started filming those 15 fights, and it's going to be fun. Mills says, it's not like they are getting rid of Daytona. Yeah, they're certainly not getting rid of it. This is just what's going to be starting out the season instead. So, going to be fun to watch. Going to be a good time. All right, we have our next segment, a usual segment for us, which is Flag on the Play, Jared. No NFL to talk about. I bet you're thanking your lucky stars that you don't have to talk about some tilt that you had in NFL. Now you just get to talk about some MLB. So, anything super surprising to you on yesterday's slate?
I mean, the one that sticks out to me as a fan is that we lost to the Detroit Tigers and didn't score a run off of Willie Peralta. So that's the main thing that sticks out to me.
Yeah.
The other thing is that there wasn't much. The Rangers spanking the Astros was certainly something that was eye-popping to me, and I know that You talked about that on the podcast before the game even happened, that Zach Greinke wasn't a potential blow-up spot. So that makes, that's very interesting to me. The Cubs beating the Phillies in a spot where Philly can't afford to lose right now is definitely disheartening to them too.
Yeah, it's just kind of insane to see what happened on the MLB slate. Like, one, the Astros just weren't able to get it together. I know I called that Greinke's absolutely terrible against that Rangers team. I did not think it was going to be that bad though, because that was really bad. Montas
Yep.
struggled against KC. Like, I said Montas on the podcast is going to be a good pitching option. So to see him struggle against the Royals was really rough. Also saw an interesting stat while I was because usually when I go to the gym I end up watching Sports Center. The Oakland Athletics have an ERA of 6+ during the month of September. So they're in that wild card race, but maybe not as much as the other teams are in that wild card race. And when you lose to the Royals in like the home stretch, I don't know, man. I say that we're gonna drop a game to the Orioles. I can almost guarantee you that we'll drop a game to the Orioles in the upcoming days. Go Fryer says that was a surprise. Mills is talking about, yeah, Montas screwed me in a few lineups. Jay Cruz said he had Montas struggle, or how'd Montas struggle against KC. Yeah, a lot of those things were interesting last night. I don't know. Nothing else was much interesting. I guess I kind of expected the Yankees to pour on more runs. They weren't able to do much though against Wells and against that bullpen, but they had the 3 home runs, including DJ. So it wasn't a bad night necessarily. It was just I knew that team had potential for 10+ runs, and we just didn't see it yesterday.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is that I mean, they had the best odds at the homer, but you could have parlayed Stanton and Judge to hit home runs yesterday. Probably gotten it at plus, because they were both plus 200 on Bet Online, and you probably could have gotten the parlay for like plus 350, plus 400. You'd be sitting pretty right now if you took that bet.
Yeah, definitely would be sitting pretty. I was super happy about that home run call. I was busy with some stuff on the stream yesterday, but it was literally while I had the home run call, and then 5 minutes later, boom, hits the home run for me.
Yep.
So super happy
Exactly.
that I got a home run call right. And, like we've said before, when you're right with those home run calls, you usually go on a little stretch of being right. So I'm excited
Yeah.
to see who my guy's going to be today. All right, we have some BOL to talk about, Jared, and we get to get some underdog mentality going on, talking about the slate today. We're not talking about NFL because it's not that time yet, but we do get to talk about some baseball today. It's an interesting slate. Like I said, you have this Red Sox game that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. You also have a few other games that I am excited to see. So I want to hear from you. Underdog mentality-wise, do you have your pick yet?
I do not, but I'm looking at it right now, and I don't have the option to pick Miami today, and that did not work for me yesterday. So I want to move on and talk about something else. Uh, okay, this one's gonna be contrarian today, and I don't think many people will agree with it just because of who's on the mound here. But talking about everything we've talked about for the playoff race in the American League, give me Seattle Mariners plus 111. I'm backing Gonzalez tonight.
Backing Marco Gonzalez. That has to be a
Very good
first.
thing.
That has to be a first, baby. I like it. Marco Gonzalez and the Seattle Mariners team plus 111. But hey, they're consistently in these spots where you're like, there's no way they would win that. And that's why they're the best underdog team in the MLB. It's because they do win games like that. All right. I am going to take. Give me the Rays plus 152. I think they get the win against the Blue Jays. I know Robbie Ray's been on a good little stretch recently. He does perform a little bit worse off at home. This Rays team has plenty of righties that can do well against lefties. Give me the Rays. And I think Walker can get the job done. He's actually been decent against righties recently. So I like that Rays plus 152 play. All right, any lock bets? I don't think we gave a lock bet yesterday. I accidentally skipped over it because we were a little pressed for time with all the videos and everything else. So any lock bets that you have on the slate, Jared?
Yeah. Give me the Red Sox. Just kidding. I can't hedge myself.
That'd be funny, man. That'd be funny.
Yeah. I think a pretty safe lock bet would be going Atlanta Braves minus 1.5. You get the 106 there. Against Sentitella and the Rockies in Atlanta. Give me that one.
Yeah. Give me the Give me the over 9.5 in the Angels and White Sox game. We saw the White Sox put up a few runs, and we've seen Dallas Keuchel not be a very good pitcher. And I don't even know who this pitcher is for the Angels, but all I know is that his last name's Junk. So, like,
exactly what I was gonna say.
How good can you really be if your last name is Junk? If your parents named, or well, I guess your parents didn't name you Junk, it's your last name. But like, if your parents gave you that last name, I don't know what to think about you, man. I don't know if that's gonna work out. So. Give me the over 9.5 in this White Sox game. I like the bet quite a bit. All right, we have one more thing to talk about, or I guess one more thing to watch before we move on to the last screen of the day. That is a little play that we got here from our boy Jamar Chase. He was actually pretty impressive when it came to all of his play this week. And this is a little route that he ran against Patrick Peterson. I don't know if you got to see this, Jared, but just watch.
I did, but I'm seeing it now.
Yeah. Look at this route. Vroom. Oh my god, just absolutely takes the ankles of Patrick Peterson. Poor Patrick Peterson, man. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's just because Patrick Peterson is old or if it's just because Jamar Chase is really might be something, but like it was really sad to see that the game has kind of passed by Patrick Peterson, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think he still has some good stuff left in the tank, and it's, at this point of the game, it's mental for him. It's all mental, and maybe the physical stats are down a little bit, but yeah, when you're up there, 31, it's definitely going to be, you might get torched every now and then by these younger guys.
Yeah, XY Game says those ankles buckled. Yeah, they certainly did buckle, man. It looked rough. I will say LSU versus LSU right there. Jamar Chase went to LSU. Patrick Peterson also went to LSU. So I saw a little tweet yesterday that was like LSU versus LSU crime, and that's exactly what it was from Jamar Chase. We have come to the end of the morning after show. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you guys for spending your morning with us. It was a really fun show. I feel like I love when we get to go over more recent topics, and there was just a ton to talk about today, which is not what we usually get on a Wednesday. So super happy to see that. Just want to give a quick moment to shout out our sponsors over at betonline.ag. BetOnline.ag is more than just an online betting platform. Their focus on the player approach has built their reputation on offering clients nothing but the best. From cutting-edge technology, enticing promotions, and the latest sports betting odds, arguably their most popular and well-known service, which you guys just saw a few moments ago, is their sportsbook. Here you will find live lines for all major sporting events, including NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, soccer, politics, table tennis, entertainment, UFC, boxing. I mean, the list goes on and on and on with how many sports they provide. It's kind of insane. The live betting platform, which I used a ton over the weekend for NFL, didn't get to use it yesterday for MLB, but if I had the chance, probably going to use it today since it's my day off. And after I clock out today, it's going to be nice, relaxing, get to kick up the feet with a beer, have the phone on with Bet Online, and watch some baseball. That's what I love to do on my nights. It's absolutely fun. Anyway, the live betting feature allows you to bet on your favorites quickly and easily and in real time. Bet Online is the absolute best platform for all your sports betting, horse betting, poker, and casino gambling needs, and we are so excited for them to be Roto Raiders' exclusive partner for the 2021 NFL season. We have a link for you guys, and hopefully Jared can get this up before I get done talking about this. We have a link for you guys. That way, so if you sign up with betonline.ag and you deposit $55, you are able to get your money back or get the same amount of money back. So BetOnline gives you $55 to go out there and bet with. I don't know if you can use it on casino stuff, but you might be able to use it on casino stuff as well. And it's awesome. I think that the best thing about BetOnline is the fact that, one, you can use it anywhere. It doesn't matter if you're in one of those states that restricts the fact that restricts you betting on anything. You can bet on it. You can bet with BetOnline anywhere in the country, and also super easy to take your money out. Probably the most seamless process in the industry to take your money out. I know there's multiple ways of doing it. The way that I personally do it is I take it out through Bitcoin and then end up selling the Bitcoin off, and then right out of Coinbase, I can take it over to my PayPal. And just like that, it's like probably it all depends on how busy it is that day with their withdrawal process. It can take anywhere from just 5 minutes to 30 minutes, though. And I think it's absolutely insane because you don't even see that from the big sports books. Like FanDuel and DraftKings, it can take 2 to 3 business days for them to withdraw your money. But with betonline.ag, it's a completely different scenario and super awesome to see. You see, it already got posted in the chat. Make sure to use that link that Roto Radar just posted. That way, so you can get your money back when you do sign up as a new depositor. Jared, anything you want to say about BetOnline? We just love our friends over there, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I pulled this up right now. You can even bet every single day whether more home teams are going to score more runs or the away teams are going to score more runs as a total throughout the entire day. You can also do the over/under of total runs scored. The amount of props that they have are amazing. Like we talked about all the home run calls there. You guys, if you're listening to the podcast, and even if you're not, if you're using the guys that we have in our FanDuel lineups, go bet on some of them for some home runs. Like use the top stacks and then use some of those player props for home runs. So that's how I like to do things. And then every now and then we get nights where you got like 3 or 4 of them that are right. So yeah, and it's an easy way to make some really fast money.
Yeah, and it blows my mind every time I go like searching through BetOnline. It's like going through a rabbit hole on the internet or on YouTube. Like you can find some absolutely crazy things that you can bet on. Whether it be just, the simple stuff like betting on awards for like football, like I don't know if those are up. Yeah, they are up. You can bet on awards right now. You can bet on who's going to win Coach of the Year, who's going to win MVP, all that stuff. Or if you go to other sports and you go to entertainment, and right up top, you can bet on who the first country that aliens will attack, if aliens ever attack. Like that's just the insane amount of things that you can bet on over at BetOnline, and I think it's a lot of fun. Mills said he loves picking his own props. Yeah, I think that's absolutely amazing that they allow you to build your own props out. Andrew P5488 says, I love playing poker on there. Poker's a lot of fun. I know I've played blackjack on there before. They have live blackjack too, and I'm a little blackjack addict in all honesty. So whenever I get the chance, I try to play. Mills says, does it have to be your first deposit? It does have to be your first deposit. Right, Jared? Does it have to be your first deposit?
You can still use the link. You won't get necessarily the credits or free plays or rollover bonuses, but yeah, you can use the link. But to get the actual attributes and stuff associated with it, it would have to be first time.
I'll tell you this: if you use the link and you deposit at least $55, send Jared, Link, or I a screenshot, and we will match you with Roto Radar bucks. I might get in trouble for saying that with Sean, but we'll see. I like to have a little bit of fun. I like testing Sean's limits, and so maybe I get in trouble, maybe I don't. And, those Roto Radar bucks can be used towards any season pass for the company. So it's a lot of fun. You can even use those Roto Radar bucks just to get a discount on the season pass. So, like, let's say, the season pass is a certain price tag. If you get those 55 Roto Radar bucks, you can have that discount of 55 Roto Radar bucks on that season price tag. All right, Jared, we've talked a lot about BetOnline. It's always fun talking about BetOnline. I have to pick 3 winners because I said on Twitter that 3 winners are going to win $10 via PayPal. The 3 people, actually, I should check to make sure these people retweeted before I just say these names, because I was just going to say the name based on a few people who followed us or who have been active in the chat. Let's see. Who do I know here? Man, okay, so Little Italy. I know I wanted to give you one because you've been really active in the chat. Thank you for being active in the chat. We greatly appreciate it. CLP226, the guy who was talking to us about how they shouldn't change Daytona. I don't know. I like you having a strong stance. You went against the grain. So you are going to also get a $10 via PayPal, $10 cash. And I will also pick Mills9042. So congratulations to you 3. Make sure to shoot me a DM, whether that be on Discord or Twitter, and I will get you taken care of as soon as we get off the show. Jared, any final thoughts here, man?
No final thoughts for me. Like I said, this is a San Francisco show today. We have some more San Francisco stuff to talk about in a couple hours, so we'll see you guys then.
Yes, we will see you guys then. As always, my name is Joshua Reimer. Good night. Oh, not good night. Man, it tells you that I'm without coffee right now. Good morning and good skill.